Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Another price hike to fees. This time it's not Reverb though, it's eBay. It seems they've given up on that whole, hey, 3.5% is here to stay for musical instruments, because in their newest update for spring 2021, if you really look into this now, musical instruments and gears, guitars and basses, 5.85%. And it looks like they've gotten rid of the cap. So if eBay was trying to be competitive, they just shot themselves in the foot because Reverb's still at 5%. But what scares me is that they're now working together and now Reverb's gonna raise their fees up. And I think the reason why this happened is eBay's like, okay, people aren't running back to us for some reason. It's because Reverb has a great little culture. They're not perfect. I get messages of complaint that Reverb has done bad by some people all the time. But generally speaking, Reverb has the better platform, and now they have the lower fee. Pretty much the only thing that eBay has going for them at this point in time is auctions. Some people like to sell stuff like that because occasionally you can get more. Sometimes you lose $15,000 on a guitar. But anyways, I thought I'd let you guys know that eBay is no longer trying to be competitive, because they've realized it is a game that they just lost to the musical instrument world. They'll get the sales that they can get, but they're no longer going to be trying to get new people, apparently. But anyways, we've got a couple of guitars we can talk about tonight. So, a couple of days ago, Fender released the newest installation of their Acoustasonic series. I know, there's 100 million people that got these things to do the reviews. I actually turned down the opportunity to do it because I knew there'd be a bunch of videos that'd be way better than mine. So if I check one of these out, I'll wait, 6 months to a year until they bring out the exotic top versions, because I still do want to review an exotic one with the channel-bound neck, which hopefully they'll do on these things. But just a quick little reaction to this. It seems like they might have changed up the way that these things sound, so you can check out any video that might have been done. I know Robert Baker did a video on it. We've got Andertons, Paul Davids, all the big names pretty much got one of these things. So there's plenty of watching opportunities here. Oh, that's interesting. Ola England, will it chug? I might have to check that one out later tonight. My guess is yes, it will, based on my experience with the Stratocaster, which I am very surprised that has over 500,000 views on it. But anyways, what they've changed up this time is it's the Jazzmaster shape, but without any of the Jazzmaster stuff. So no crazy trem systems, obviously an acoustic guitar, but the biggest thing that caught my attention is the humbucker that they've got in there, versus the single coils that they've had all these other times. So in that aspect, I think it would be good to check that out for as far as tone-wise. But before I do a review like that, I would have to get a proper acoustic amp, I think, because that's what this video was really missing. And I found it funny because Gibson released the Les Paul Deluxe the exact same day, or at least they were going to. They told me they were going to be launched on the website that same day. But yet we can go to their website and they're still not there. So I don't know if they just decided, hey, we're not quite ready to put these things all the way into production and take all these pre-orders. Even looking online, you can only find a few of these things yet for sale. My Cherry Sunburst sold really fast. I still have my Gold Top if you want it way before these other people, because the only other pre-order listing that I can find is right here. And that's Chicago Music Exchange, and they're not expecting them till the end of July. So if you happen to have missed this video, definitely go ahead and check it out. Even though I was kind of disappointed in the specs that they ended up choosing for the 70s Deluxe, it was a very nice guitar. But check this thing out. It's a Gibson ES-175, supposedly from the 50s, which that seems about right, a single dog-eared neck pickup. You can find variations like that, trapeze tailpiece floating bridge, but what makes this so fascinating is like everything. It's been refinished, kind of a transparent black, but yet it has a little bit of a greenish hue. This looks like a swamp monster. When you get the maple wood grain the way that I love it on these things. And I guess you could say it kind of has that olive drab green-esque vibe, but yet it's really transparent. And I love the way that the binding has aged on this thing, or maybe they purposefully did that. But pair that with these style knobs that are black with just a single line, it goes great with the pickguard. I almost think blacking out the trapeze tailpiece would look pretty good on this thing too. But you're probably thinking, ES-175s, they don't normally have dot inlays. But yet, this is one of those times I think dot inlays look fantastic because we've got binding right here. This style model normally has the split parallelogram inlays, which are pretty cool, but this one's clearly seen some work in the form of a refinish, and according to the seller, it's had a new fretboard put on it for some reason. Maybe they had to plane the neck down because it had a twist, or maybe it just got some damage, or it just came down to personal preference. I mean, when you're making a guitar, something that you want to play, sometimes people will do crazy stuff. Like that one time that I wanted to take a really rare Spotlight Special and have a guy put a maple fretboard on it. But if you're interested in pursuing this one, it is on Reverb. There are a couple of side cracks on this, which are very common on these. They might look ugly, but generally they don't have any impact on the guitar itself. And the condition seems to be okay. I don't like the way this looks though. That looks awful, but everything else about it did look alright. It's definitely had multiple styles of tuners on here though. But that is a beautiful piece. How much does he want? $2,850. So let's see how that actually is. So here's what one of these would normally look like. The black finish actually looks really good on that. But you can see the inlays we're supposed to have the tuners that originally would have been on here. But whoa! $25,000. I'm guessing because it's a factory black finish. But it looks like, generally speaking, as compared to what's on the market, most of them are asking around $5,000 or so for these single pickup iterations from the early 50s. If you prefer a humbucker, that's also an option. And looking at completed sales, I would guess anywhere between 35 to 45 is pretty much fair game on these things. So coming back here, refinish normally knocks off about 50% of the value, sometimes a little less if it was done well. This is one of those times where I think it was done well enough that I don't think it affects the value as much. I mean, we could say like, what, 25, 30%. Mainly, it's the fretboard change that scares me on this one, because why was that done? Is that even the original neck? But all things considered, you know, if you can pick this up around $2,000, I think you'd be pretty happy with it. I'll put a link in the description to that one. Speaking of another really cool one, I almost don't even want to show you guys this because it's so awesome. I want it. I don't want to pay $6,000 for it though. I want to pay like $4,000, maybe $4,500. I wish I could have found this first because there have been many of these 1990-esque, you know, plus or minus 1 year Firebirds showing up in these custom finishes. There had to have been some dealer that just ordered a whole bunch of these in vibrant colors. So this is the first one in purple that I've seen. So it's got like a neon burst purple along the outside and then more of like a magenta Barney-esque purple here. But what all these have in common are these really aged looking mother of toilet seat fake pearloid pickguards that look really great with these finishes. And most of the ones that come up appear to be in pretty good shape. The other one that it came up was a green color, and it was actually given away in a contest on a different YouTube channel. And I remember there's so many people contacting that guy saying, hey, I want to buy that guitar you won. I was one of them, but unfortunately he did not want to sell. So I guess that contest went to the right person, but man, it would have been nice to document that. And they always seem to show up in the Chicago area. So is somebody taking Firebirds, refinishing them, and putting Custom Shop Original decals on them? Probably not. I'm sure there's a story somewhere. But the fact that they all show up around Chicago is strange. But that's what I love about these, is not only are they a unique finish on a Firebird, but they're a vintage style Firebird, and they have these Custom Shop Original decals on them. Meaning they were a one-off, a custom order of some sort. This one appears to have a little bit of a stand hanger rash type thing going on. Maybe they were all ordered by the same guy and he died and his collection has been parted out or something. I'm not sure if we will ever know the true story, but this is a really cool guitar with a very oversized case. What I really like about this one is it's got all the case candy and stuff too. So is it worth $6,000 to the right person? Yeah, I would probably even price it a little higher, 65. Because purples are cool, but that one is offered by Solid State Vintage. I'm not sure if that's what SS means, but that's what I'm going to call it. Speaking of purple burst finishes, there's this Gibson Invader that showed up, advertised as Purple Burst Metallic 1984. Now this is one that kind of rubs me the wrong way. The odds of this being a factory finish, I'm just doubtful because I've never seen anything quite like this. It's not like the Night Violet Les Paul Studios, and this has a metallic sheen to it. Now, I'm not condemning that this was a refinish or anything, but it is a bolt-on neck guitar. It would not be that hard for them to do. So this is one of those ones where Mr. Randy Leonard's probably watching. Maybe he can look it up in his book. Looks like serial number 83043534, maybe? Perhaps he'll remember, because if this is a factory finish, which it very well might be, I'd be interested to know what color this was and if it was used on anything else. But if it was some sort of a limited edition, I'd expect to see some sort of custom shop edition or custom shop original decal on here, signifying its specialness. So in my opinion, I think the seller has a little bit more convincing yet to do, because the other thing that scares me is it's so clean. Because clean can mean that it was well taken care of, but clean can also mean recent work. But this one's offered by Young Brothers Guitars up in Canada. And you can find Invaders in interesting finishes, like Silver Burst that you can see there. But this is the first one I've seen in a Purple Burst Metallic. As it stands, as you can tell, Invaders are not very well sought after guitars. They're not worth a whole bunch of money. But if we can confirm that this is a factory original color, now it becomes a collector's piece of the oddball model. So if you're going to own one of these Invaders, you might as well own a custom color. This one even has the protective covering over the back plate. You don't see that too often. So if confirmed, I could see 15 to 2,000 happening to the very, very right buyer. There's also this one done up in charcoal metallic. So this further proves that, towards the end of the life here, they definitely use some custom colors to help dealers sell them. So it's entirely possible that they could have done a more sparkly finish. Charcoal metallic isn't in-your-face sparkle, but it does have a little bit of a sheen to it. Honestly, it's one of the cooler custom finishes. Doesn't get talked about too often anymore. But this one is clean. It even has the finish on the back of the neck. And it's still a bolt-on neck. That actually makes that really unique. And it's got the chainsaw case. Again, not being a traditionally expensive guitar, it looks like he's even having some troubles getting $1,200. I mean, it's clean, it's a rare finish, it's just not a lot of interest in this particular model. And lastly, we kind of have a strange mystery. So, this person, located in the United Kingdom, is selling a 1973 Gibson Alpine White Les Paul Custom, but he's claiming it's a limited edition 1 of 6 made. The thing is, there's no special features about this particular one. Like, it didn't get a special neck. It doesn't look like it has any sparkle in the finish that makes it any different. But if I remember correctly, I think 73, 74 is the first year of white on a Les Paul Custom. It's always hard to, fully verify that type of information. Somebody's added a whole bunch of thumb wheels to that ABR1 to prevent post lean. But basically the story behind this is he bought it in 73 and Gary Moore played it at Paisley University. That's a little hard to prove without photos, but I guess it's possible. Mother of pearl inlay, not necessarily a special feature. That's what all the customs have. Gold plated machine, yeah, nothing special there. But he says he was invited to a hotel in Glasgow for a Gibson exhibition, and the guy from Gibson chose to show this one off. And he said he should keep it because it's going to be worth a lot in the future. But yet, he doesn't explain that it's only 6 made. Like, was this one of the first 6 white ones? That's the only thing I could think of. Because if there was a way for him to verify that, yes, I think he does have a very collectible instrument that could be worth a lot of money. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and the asking price is about 3 to 4 times higher than what these things normally sell for. So if he's looking for quite this much, I think we need to do some more digging here. Because sometimes you get told a story when you buy a guitar, and the story lives on with the instrument, and nobody ever questions it until it comes up for sale. And then they realize that the guitar that they thought was so valuable their whole life doesn't have that story come true. A really great example of that is when I bought my first 2550 Les Paul. This guy right here. I drove up, I met the original owner. He told me he purchased, I think it was like 3 or 4 of these things. One for his son and daughter, one for him, and then one to hold back. This is the one that he held back. It was number 24 out of the run. So one of the original 100 flame top stories, if you believe the new old stock type thing. It even had an original belt buckle, which was the biggest selling feature for this guy. And I loved and cherished this thing. And when I went and picked it up from this guy in Michigan, he told me, hey, I also have the original box. Would you like that? And I said, yes, I would. So he gave me this. And I just looked at it and was like, oh man, it's got the old Orville Gibson guy on here, the old logos. Yes, this is the original box. So I kept this original box forever. And I took really especially good care of it because I viewed it as just as valuable as the guitar. But it wasn't until like years and years later that I find out this is actually not a 70s Gibson box. They were pretty plain back then. I think they just said Gibson on it and you can have like paperwork on the top. This actually came from the 90s or something close to that. So it just broke my heart knowing that, that's not the original box. But it's just one of those stories that until you know otherwise, you just go on believing it because you didn't have anything else to doubt them at the time. But that was a good story there. Another good story is like the 2550 belt buckles themselves. A lot of people get duped on those. But anyways, thank you Troglodytes for tuning in tonight. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.